So here we have three expressions, and we have to say whether or not they are actually polynomials. So the first one is 3x minus 8 over x. Now this one is not a polynomial because there's a variable on the bottom of the fraction. Okay? So once you see a variable on the bottom of a fraction, that means it's not a polynomial. Okay? So there's a variable on the bottom in the denominator. This is not a polynomial. Okay? If you wanted to write it as powers, you don't have to, but if you wanted to write all of these as power terms, you would say that that was 3x minus 8x to the negative 1. And once you see, if you write them as power terms, once you see a negative power, then that also disqualifies it from being a polynomial. So in very simple terms, if you have a variable on the bottom of a fraction, then the expression is not a polynomial. Let's move on to look at B, it's the second one, number 2. So B is 1/3 of y to the power of 7 minus 4y cubed minus 2. Now this one is a polynomial because all the powers of y are positive powers. You don't have any y's under the bottom of a fraction, and you don't have any square roots. So this is a polynomial. Okay? Now remember that if we wanted to, we could write this as 1/3 y to the 7 minus 4y cubed minus 2. Now we could write this as y to the 0, because y to the 0 is 1. So it's 2 times 1, or 2 times y to the 0. That's not very clear. Okay, 2 times y to the 0. Now, when we think about expressions in terms of power terms, positive whole number powers are okay, and also a part of 0 is okay. But remember, basically, at a very simple level, what you're trying to make sure is that there are no x's on the bottom of fractions, and there are no square roots of x's. Those are the things that will disqualify an expression from being a polynomial. Okay, last one. Let's do C. And C was 4 times the square root of t cubed minus 6t. Okay. Now this one is not a polynomial. And the reason for it not being a polynomial is it contains the square root of a variable. Okay, so square roots are going to rule your expression out from being a polynomial. If we wrote it in power terms, if we wrote this in power terms, it would be 4t to the power of 3 over 2 minus 6t. Now 6t is okay, but this first t, 4t to the power of 3 over 2, that term, that t, has an exponent, a power that's a fraction, and that's not allowed. You're not allowed, in terms of powers, you're not allowed to have fractions as your powers, and you're not allowed to have negative numbers as your powers. Remember we saw that in part A. Okay, so those are the three questions, and if you have x's, if you have variables on the bottom of a fraction, or you have the square root of a variable, then your expression is not a polynomial. Okay, thanks for watching.